So as I discussed in the last video, every sound we make starts with our breath. So as actors, we need to make sure that we are taking the most effective breath that we possibly can to create the most space for the most air so we can create the biggest sound. All sound starts with breath. So once again, I want you to kind of feel under your rib cage until you get to your diaphragm. Lay your hands right there and take in a really deep breath. You should feel it raise. If you're struggling and it's not raising, you are either probably breathing a little bit more from your chest. If you notice that your chest is raising up and down or your shoulders are raising up and down, that means you're not quite breathing correctly. Fun fact, when you are laying down, it is impossible to not breathe from your diaphragm. So if you want to make sure you know what this feels like, lay down flat, hold your hands on your stomach, and just take some deep breaths, and you'll feel your stomach going up and down. Once again, that's your diaphragm pushing down so that your lungs can further expand. So when we are standing, we want to make sure we are in the best position possible to take a deep breath. I don't know if you've ever scrunched yourself up really hard and tried to breathe, but literally everything that I used to breathe got crushed and I couldn't get in a deep breath. So we want to start from the bottom. So I'm taking my legs or my feet hip width apart. We don't want shoulder width apart. We don't want too far apart, but we don't want it scrunched together really, really tight because that causes tension and we can't relax that way. So hip width apart. So you want to start with your feet about hip width apart. Then you want to make sure that your knees are slightly bent. If you've ever locked your knees, you know that after a while it starts to make you feel a little woozy and you can pass out from locking your knees. Once again, the best way to get the best breath is to just relax your body to the best of your abilities while still staying upright. So the best way I have found to do this is you just take one foot and move it just ever so slightly back. Then it's a little bit harder to lock your knees because they're not kind of on the same grid. Just keep your knees slightly loose. Then we want to talk about the spine. So kind of give yourself a second, figure out where your spine is. So we want the hips and the butt to go right under the spine. We want our spine to be in a nice, beautiful, straight line, but we can't do that if our spine is kicking out the back, and that's going to cause some issues. So just take your spine and lightly tuck it. It's a very small movement. It took me a while to figure it out because I'm just like, what am I doing? Everything's weird. So just take it, and it's just a slight tuck to kind of help you stay straight up. Then, of course, as you've learned in choir and other classes, you want to stand up straight and take your chin. You want it parallel to the floor. It's really hard to get your point across like this or like this. So chin parallel to the floor, and honestly, take an imaginary string out of the top of your head and just pull it, and boom, you're in your good posture. So now what I want you to do, now that you're standing in your good posture, is we're gonna stretch your body out just a little. This is a little bit of yoga, but I promise it's nothing intense. I'm in heels, so I can do it and you can too. So first you're gonna take your chin and tuck it into your chest. And that's where our spine starts, is right back here, right at the bottom of your head. That's where our spine starts. And we're just going to roll our spine down, almost one vertebrae at a time if you can feel it. So start by tucking your chin in. And then you're just gonna slowly, slowly, slowly let the weight of your head just drag you down and pull you down as much as you can until you are completely flopped over. Then you're gonna take a deep breath, and as you do, you are going to come up almost once again, one vertebrae at a time if you can feel it. The last thing to pop up is your head. And you want to do this very, very slowly, or you could get really dizzy and pass out. So as I come up, my shoulders start to roll back. And very gently, I lift up my head so I don't pass out, push the hair out of the way, take that imaginary string and pull it. And boom, you are in the proper position to take a really good deep breath and properly get that sound out. So try it. Let sounds just come out of you. And that's how we properly stand to really make sure that our body is prepped to get the biggest breath and the biggest sound possible.